I'm Julia, and today we're talking to Pryor from our campaigns team.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Julia.
Yes, of course. Okay, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got to Grassroots?
Definitely. Well, I never intended to go into politics in general. I went to school and studied artistic production and management, both for film and theater. And so that's kind of the trajectory I wanted to take. The only reason I also studied politics in school, but the only reason I studied it was because I had a fantastic senior year high school teacher who I needed an extra credit. I took a gov class and just became fascinated in government, politics in general. So followed it very closely in college, but did not intend to come to DC and work in this field. I graduated in COVID. So as many of us here at Grassroots know, that was a brutal time. There were not any opportunities in film and theater. And so I just got at home. I was working a lot of that fall in a restaurant and got very heavily involved in the election cycle, mostly on the big 2020 election, mostly on a volunteer basis back in Georgia. And through a variety of different random events, I ended up on John Ossoff's Senate campaign, which obviously after the general election was in the national limelight with the runoff, which ultimately led to flipping the Senate. So I realized, wait a minute, I actually really enjoyed this. And I decided to intern on the Hill for a congresswoman from Georgia that flipped the seat that cycle. Did a few months there, realized the Hill's a grind. It's a very specific energy, and while it's a really cool experience, I didn't want to stay on the Hill. So I was going to go back to Georgia, and that's when I completely stumbled upon the internship here at Grassroots Analytics. I had been receiving emails probably from you, or maybe Seb at that point.
Someone on the marketing team.
But y'all, it said in the subject line, GA Insider, and I had been receiving these emails for months, and I don't know how, I ended up on your listserv, and I never opened them because I thought it was Georgia Insider. And so I thought I was on some like Georgia election news listserv, and I said, I know all this. I don't need to look at this. And I accidentally clicked on it one day and saw, wait a minute, this is a company. This is an organization in DC, and they're looking for interns. So I said, why don't I extend my time in DC by 3 months? And did not realize that I would be extending by 4.5 years.
4.5 years later.
Or 4 years, I guess, since then. But
that's so funny.
So here we are.
An accidental email click, and we got...
And then here we are. Here I am. Totally changed the trajectory of really my whole life. So
that's crazy. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about what your role is at Grassroots?
Yes. So I am currently director of campaigns. I pretty much started as an intern and worked my way up from here. So I oversee our campaigns department, there's pretty much 2 tracks within that. There's our more revenue track. So I work with our account managers who are really working those relationships, bringing in new clients, helping our clients see success while at Grassroots. And then our campaign or our fundraising strategists, they are the ones that execute our fundraising premier contract that we're going to talk a little bit about. And they are the ones that are working with, I started as fundraising strategist. They're working in the weeds with all of our many clients, helping them with their data needs, their general fundraising campaigning needs, like all of the things. So I work with those 2 groups of people under the campaigns department.
Gotcha. Okay, so to take a step back and like really kind of talk about why this service and this product is necessary, what is campaign fundraising?
Oh man, campaign fundraising, put simply, is basically when candidates and their teams ask donors for money to fund all aspects of their campaign. Most important, though, actually maybe not even most important, but among the most important parts, or the necessity for this campaign fundraising is efforts to reach voters. And that costs money, whether it's printing literature, whether it's hiring organizers, paying staff, right? At the end of the day, the more donor or the more voters you reach, the greater the likelihood of your victory, and that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it is among the most important part of running for office is being able to raise money to fund the work that you need to do to actually win.
Yeah, absolutely. Great answer. Okay, so what is Fundraising Premier?
Fundraising Premier is pretty much the origin story of Grassroots.
I would say so.
It has gone through so many iterations, so many names, so many looks, so many formats.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, Fundraising Premier is our most comprehensive and also our most, frankly, affordable package here at Grassroots. And it is designed for any candidate of all shapes and sizes. So it is a monthly data subscription with a variety of different pricing options. But basically, a client is running for office, and whether they are a super fleshed out, top house incumbent with the whole team, and they've run for office 10 times already, all the way down to somebody in running for a superior court race in a small county in Texas, right? Anybody and everybody who's running for office can come utilize Fundraising Premier, this data subscription, to basically increase the likelihood and increase their ability to raise as much money as possible for as little money as possible. It includes a variety of things. There's data that's included in this package. But the real benefit is that you are connected with a fundraising strategist. And they pretty much act as your main data and strategy point of contact throughout your entire time that you're signed on as a Fundraising Premier client. So they consult you on all things. Okay, to start, you come on and you meet with a fundraising strategist, your new point of contact, and you talk about your race. They just take in as much info about what you're trying to achieve as possible. And then from there, they craft a plan for you. Should I wait for that?
Yeah. Oh my God.
We're in a happening part of town.
I know.
Come visit us sometime. Come see our office. But they work with the Fundraising Premier client to come up with a data targeting plan, determine who in the country would most likely be interested in giving to this type of race. And this is not something we're just guessing, right? We are able to target donors in a way that is based off of their proven giving history. So if we have a client coming in that's running for that small judicial race in Texas, we can help that person, we can connect them to donors that have a history of giving to those same type of races. And so then, aside from that, our strategists help them. They teach them how to talk to these donors, how to call them, when they're on the phone with them, what to say to them, how to write a pitch, how to follow up with them. If you're really starting from scratch, how to build a finance plan, how to build a call time plan, how to train your staff to help out. All of the things, these fundraising strategists, they're there to help throughout their entire time at Grassroots.
Amazing. That sounds so comprehensive.
Very comprehensive.
So how do all of the fundraising strategists kind of have a background in campaign fundraising or finance teams?
Definitely. Among our group of strategists, they all come from a variety of different backgrounds. So like when I was a strategist, I worked on Senate race. We have Denisha and Claire, who both came off of pretty prominent U.S. House races. Claire in New York, Denisha in Ohio. We have Julius, who has been working, he worked in races all across the country. He worked on a couple statewide races out in Colorado. He's done some mayoral races out in Pennsylvania. So, has really that more scrappy race insight. And then we have Elise as well, who came from the D-Trip, and so has experience working with a whole bunch of different House races on their finance and their data teams as well. So there is background, and there is an understanding of what goes into all the many different moving parts of fundraising for campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked to Elise. People should go watch that
Yes.
episode. She talks about her experience actually embedding on a campaign in Michigan. So sometimes fundraising strategists will actually come out to the race and meet you
Yes.
where you are and help with call time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's one of the benefits of working with us too. Like, we want to meet you, right? Obviously, we're based in DC, so most of the work that we do with you is virtual if you're across the country.
Right.
But if it's a big reporting deadline, or you have a big fundraiser, or you're prepping for your launch, we can actually come out and help you with that. No extra cost.
Yep.
This is included in your package. If we have the time, the capacity to go out there, we will.
Yeah. Amazing.
And so it's really fun. Yeah.
Okay, does the importance of fundraising change for the different types of races that you're talking about, from like those candidates who have been in the House for a long time, or statewide Senate campaigns, or something like a very local district judge?
Totally. Yes, to answer your question, obviously the most expensive races are those that are, the larger races in the sense of Senate races, House races, representing more people,
Right.
But also more competitive races, just require a lot more money because you have to put in that much more work to reach people. The persuasion aspect, right?
Right.
You want to engage your base, flip people who maybe are unsure about who they're going to vote for, and that just requires reaching as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
Those are the type of races where you need to get on the airwaves. You need
Yeah.
to be on the radio. You need to have TV ads, right? Facebook ads, and those just cost money.
Yep.
And so those are very expensive races. But I do want to be clear, and part of one of the things that we try to do here at Grassroots is help candidates raise as much money as possible, as much as they need for as little as possible.
Right.
So for those super competitive races, right, you need millions and millions of dollars
Yeah.
to be able to flip that seat or hold on to that really challenging seat, right? And we have a variety of mechanisms, both on Fundraising Premier and not, to help you reach those goals. And with our hyper-targeting capabilities, you have to reach fewer people to see those conversions, to see that money coming in. Because the people we are reaching are those that have a proven history of giving to similar races.
Yeah.
On the same side, though, there's plenty of local races where, honestly, you don't need that much money, right?
Right.
To win the race. You just need enough to get enough people out, knocking doors, engaging the people in your community to win that seat.
Sure.
And so, yeah, like, a lot of what we'll do is actually discuss with these campaigns realistic goals for what they need to raise to be able to do their work, and we help them reach that goal. And we don't keep pushing beyond that goal, because we want the candidate to really be able to focus on what's most important, which is being out and campaigning and winning the election.
Wow. Okay, great.
And one thing I just want to add, because
Absolutely.
I think it's very important, whether it fits into this or not, is it really is, and we as an organization acknowledge how honestly devastating it is that this much money needs to go into running for office.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge, huge, huge barrier of entry. It's so hard for anyone that is working 40 hours a week, anyone that is not self-funded,
Right.
anyone who has a family, who has kids, who has a job, anything
Right.
to run for office, especially if they're not wealthy or connected.
Yeah.
And we as a greater umbrella mission are striving for a world where this industry is no longer necessary, right? Where we have campaign finance reform.
Yeah.
And anyone and everyone has an equal shot of running for office. But until that day comes, our work is trying to break down those barriers and work with anyone and everyone, meet them where they are, so that
Right.
they have a fighting chance. Whether you come from the industry or you just feel like you are the one that can really do good by your community and want to give it a shot.
Yeah.
So.
Something that you touched on in that answer is that it, like, running for office takes so many hours, like just hours of work, calling people and knocking doors. It is way more than a 9 to 5. It's way more than 40 hours a week. It's like every hour that you're awake for many, many months before the election day. And
Exactly.
so like you said, our job is to make that just a little bit easier so that people
Right.
can actually do it if they have jobs and lives and other priorities.
Totally.
Cool. Okay, so in 2025 here, we are recording this right after the 2025 elections. Yeah. And so we obviously saw some progressive and democratic success across the board. Can you talk
Totally.
about Fundraising Premier's and Grassroots as a whole role in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had an incredibly successful slate of elections here at Grassroots. We had clients in most jurisdictions that had elections across the country. So we saw that in Virginia, New Jersey, New York City. A lot of clients who were impacted by Prop 50 out in California.
Sure.
That were rooting for it to pass. Many municipal elections across the country, and so that was super exciting. Of our fundraising premier clients, we were working with 39 of them in the at all different levels of the ballot, up and down in this election, and we, I believe, saw now 23 or 24 victories out of 39.
Yeah.
And I do want to emphasize, like, that's fantastic. And among those that actually didn't win, they were part of this greater movement. Yes, to put their best effort into it, and every incumbent deserves needs to be challenged.
Absolutely.
But really what they were integral to is their fundraising and their ability, the fact that they were able to raise more money in working with us directly impacted their ability to reach more people and do more work in their communities. And while they themselves did not flip their seat, they shrunk the margins.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at these statewide races in New Jersey, in Virginia, the fact that they went from maybe an 80-20 Republican split in the district down to 70-30 or 60-40.
It's huge.
That was enough of a margin shrink in their district to help push Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill and all these people over the edge into victory. And that's like a lot of the work we're trying to do, because those super local races, if they can just get more people out in favor of them, the effects, it's not just trickle down from the top of the ballot downwards, but it's that upward trend, right?
Absolutely.
People running for mayor and city council are part of the reason that Democrats are winning governorships and Senate races and House races. And so we saw that a lot this cycle.
Yeah.
Which was really great.
Yeah, so amazing. Okay, so you've talked a lot about how Fundraising Premier is a really good foundation setter for people who are just starting out running for office, maybe don't know that much about fundraising. What's next for them?
Totally. Exactly right. If you have $0 in the bank, you're starting from scratch, Fundraising Premier is your option. And part of that is part of our pricing model allows you to basically pay based off of what you're raising. And so the idea is, if you don't raise anything from us, you're not going to pay us. Right? And so that is why, there's a whole bunch of data options, there's a whole bunch of hand-holding and strategy, and can be really affordable for you. So that's why we recommend definitely start with Fundraising Premier, learn all there is to learn, get your foot in the door, get your grounding, and then it's not easy, with a lot of work and practice, you start getting your flow down, you'll start to notice more contributions coming in the door, and suddenly there's money in the bank. And that is when we recommend really taking off from there and maximizing your donor acquisition. The big misconception is that running for office, that the best strategy is, at least financially, staying in the green at all times. The huge fundraising value comes from new donors, first-time donors, that they're introduced to you, whether it's over call time, whether it's via text, email. They like your messaging, they like your mission, they give you one donation. They give you that donation because they're interested in the work you're doing. And then those donors can stick with you and keep contributing to your campaign over and over and over again over the course of the entire cycle. So in saying go all in on acquisition, I mean really invest across the board and bringing in as many first-time donors as possible, even if that means you're spending, you're not necessarily seeing immediate full return on your investment in the days after that acquisition, because over the course of the cycle, they're going to keep giving to you. And you're going to see not only all these donors, but all this money coming in the door from these donors giving to you over and over again. So from there, we have many options for acquisition. We have mobile fundraising, where we're sending text to donors, and the goal is to get people to contribute for the first time via text, so that, again, you can continue to ask for money over the course of the cycle. We have email acquisition, where you basically, these are emails that are specifically targeting individuals that engage with email content and like to donate to candidates via email, so that they can be incorporated into their digital and email programs.
Right.
We have a direct mailer for fundraising, where we reach people who they like to see physical like mail in their hands and read candidate stories.
Absolutely.
And they like to write checks. Believe it or not, people still write checks and send them in, and that's how they acquire new donors. There's a whole bunch of things that we can do when you're ready to graduate from just Fundraising Premier.
Absolutely.
And it's so cool. It's super cool. Everybody has kind of a different best approach. And so seeing what worked for these clients in Fundraising Premier will directly inform where we recommend they go from there.
Gotcha. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that as we kind of move into 2026, that'll be the story for many Fundraising Premier clients.
Totally.
Okay, can you actually tell us a little bit about what call time is?
Yes. Ooh. The dark arts of fundraising. No, it's not. It is. So call time is so necessary, but it is also has to be the hardest part
Absolutely.
of fundraising. And if we could put call time in its grave, trust me, we would. But continues. It remains necessary because we have yet to find another method that is not the quickest way to make the most money at any one given time.
Absolutely.
But it is difficult. So call time is just time that the candidate makes calls to donors. It is literally, you're locking yourself in a room. If you have volunteer, or you have a call time manager, or you have a staff member to help you,
Right.
that's ideal. But many candidates just do it by themselves.
Sure.
They lock themselves in a room. They have our donor lists, and our donor list comes with contact information and then just information about who these donors like to give to.
Right.
And they just call. And these are cold calls. So it's
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
to be able to call somebody, get on the phone with them, hold them on the phone, introduce yourself, pitch yourself,
Right.
ask for money, and then get money. There's a lot of steps. And at first it seems impossible.
Absolutely.
It is hard. However, a couple things to remember. There's a reason this is still in practice,
Yeah.
and it's because it works.
Yeah.
You practice it over and over again, and you start to get your footing, and then suddenly you realize more and more people are donating. Your pitch sounds more natural. You're doing a better job of communicating your mission and why they should support you and why you are the one to win this race. You become less nervous, so it's just easier to talk to strangers on the phone.
Yep.
You also realize there are, I'm sure so many people have gotten calls from candidates or robocalls or things that are just
Sure.
so annoying, but there are so millions of people out there that love a good phone call.
Absolutely.
And love a conversation. People who, especially people who are retired, they love to chat. And so, there are plenty of people who would be interested in giving this campaign. And when you realize that, it becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
And that is, it's the quickest way to raise the most amount of money, because those conversations that you have with people, that is what leads to 1,000, 2,000
Right.
max out contributions. You've really connected with someone and they want to support you.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other ways to make a lot of money quickly, but call time remains among the most important mechanisms of fundraising.
Yeah.
So,
Can you tell us about some of the grassroots innovations that make it just a tiny bit easier for candidates?
Totally. So first and foremost, call time historically has been, to be able to call donors, you have to find the donors.
Right.
And so up until Grassroots, right?
Like 2016.
2016, 2017, candidates and their team would literally go online or even look through literal phone books and just identify people and call them. Find numbers and call them. You weren't even sure they were Democratic, like on the Democratic side, you weren't sure they were Democratic donors.
Right.
You weren't sure, even if they were Democratic donors, how often they give. You don't know who they like to support. You were just totally throwing caution in the wind and giving it a go. The research that goes into this is just so incredibly time consuming. So then finally, when you've done your research and you put in all these hours just to build one list, that's when you can start actually calling them, which
Yep.
is a whole nother beast. So Grassroots, with our donor database, our Democratic and left-leaning database, plus our ability to hyper-target within that database, identify who among these millions of donors that we have is most suited to giving to XYZ candidate.
Exactly.
That takes that initial research, that huge weighted first step off of the candidate's shoulders.
Yep.
Because we say, you want people who'd be interested in your race? Here they are.
Yeah.
And then you can get right to calling. When it comes to calling itself, that's when the strategy component of Fundraising Premier really makes life easier for these clients. The strategist will look over your call time scripts. They'll help you hone your script. They'll do a training session with you, right? So you're not teaching yourself how to do call time. You have somebody who will automatically give you best practices, tips. They'll critique you, so that when you go into it, part of that learning curve is gone, because you're ahead of the game. You have people giving you those tips and those tricks.
Experts behind you.
Experts behind you who have been on the ground and have done this millions of times before.
Sure.
And then on top of that, there's all these innovative tips and tricks that we have, like in partnership with our other services here, that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
If you do text with us, if you get to a point where you're ready to invest in our text program, what we can do is that can operate very much in partnership with Fundraising Premier. So you send text to thousands of people around the country, and of those thousands, let's say you get 200 first-time donors.
Right.
Then on the Fundraising Premier side, we can take those first-time donors and provide a whole analysis of them. We can see, okay, who of these people that maybe gave you $10 can actually give you 1,000?
Right.
Who do they give to? When do they give? How do they like to be reached?
Yeah.
And from there, we can send that list back to the client, and suddenly it's a lot easier because you're calling people who actually gave to you.
Yeah,
already.
they're already engaged.
Right. So they know who you are. And all you're doing now is just asking them to give you more money instead of it being a cold call. So there's just so many ways that our services can work together to make that initial lift of call time that much easier.
Amazing. Yeah, I remember when I was a finance intern on a race back in 2016 before Grassroots, my job was donor research. It was looking up these people who had given to Hillary and to see if that they would be good donors for our candidate.
Yeah.
And it was so time consuming, and I'm so glad that's not a job anymore.
I know, you don't have to do like it is. I'm telling you, that was like half the job.
Exactly. And
right
those interns and those, finance assistants should be calling donors to set up a time with the candidate. So call time
100%.
is even easier.
Yes, that's a big thing too. Like just a tip, a free tip for y'all. If you are doing call time, it is okay to reach out to these people via text and email, or even have, as you say, a team member calling them as well to set up a time to chat. So you're not just getting, can't talk right now, no answer, can't talk right now, but you're lining your calendar with meetings that you've scheduled with donors so that they already expect what the conversation's going to be when you hop on the phone with them.
Yeah.
So do that as well.
Free tip.
Yeah.
Okay. On Grassroots Insider, we talk about the pillars that, empower our mission here at the company to do this work and help candidates and nonprofits all across the country. So can you tell us about a pillar that really embodies Fundraising Premier?
Well, personally, I think all of them do. But
I agree.
If I had to choose one, I think diversity, creativity, and innovation, if I'm remembering the pillar correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because really all of those things apply. Diversity, both diversity of the candidates that we work with.
Sure.
We work with anybody and everybody who aligns with our mission at Grassroots, who, whether in any district, whether any background that they come from, any race that they're in, like we are willing to work with them. And I think that very diverse coalition speaks to what we're striving for and who we're trying to uplift. But also speaks to our success and why and how we've been able to see success with a very diverse group of people, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the most competitive house races that have been able to, win with using Grassroots, but also those in very local small races across the country.
Absolutely.
Additionally, it's the diversity of the Grassroots staff and the backgrounds that they come from that I think creates this comprehensive well-informed strategy, right? We have people who've come from all over the place and has a whole bunch of personal experiences that I think directly inform the strategy that they give to the clients. And it's how we can see that in clients coming in and know who to connect them with based off of shared experiences, right?
Right.
So the diversity is everything. The diversity of thought, diversity of background, all the things.
Yeah.
Creativity, we are always, we're making shit up all the time. We're making
Truly,
things up,
yeah.
pardon my French, all the time. And that's what strategy is all about, right? Like we have a client coming in. Well, interesting. We're working with this type of race. This is a little different from some of the races we usually work with. So how can we apply what has worked in the past and curate a strategy that works best for this client?
Yeah.
Or, no one's perfect. Strategy is never foolproof. So we try one thing out with a client, and we'll be honest, it didn't work. Right? Okay, they tried this list and this messaging and no donations. Okay,
Didn't hit,
back to the drawing board. Let's work together. What went well, what didn't, and we work together and collaborate to come up with a new strategy to test out. And then when we identify what's working, we run with it. And when it stops working, we pivot.
Yeah.
So there's so much creativity that comes from that shared thought, both internally on our team and with the client.
Absolutely.
And innovation, that's our big thing here.
It is
all about innovation. We have to operate and stay ahead of an ever-changing environment all the time. There's no question that donors are tired. There's a lot of donor fatigue going on, a lot of donor burnout, because there's so much happening and there's so much that they want to get involved with that it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
We have today's political environment is exhausting.
Yeah, it's
right?
all the time.
Right.
No break.
It's exhausting for candidates, and it's exhausting for donors, and it's exhausting for people who just are trying to live their life, right? So part of what we're doing is innovating ways to keep people engaged and keep people engaged in a way that's just not a burden for them, right? We want donors to be able to contribute to candidates and clients that they're passionate about with complete ease.
Yeah.
Because they want to and they're passionate about it. But, the harder it is, the less likely that, we can overcome this fatigue. So we're staying on top of that. We're innovating. We're always thinking of new products and new ways that we can help our client, because at the end of the day, we want to make this as easy for our clients as possible.
Yeah.
And help them raise as much money for as little money as possible.
Yes, powering wins up and down the ballot.
There you go.
Amazing. Okay, so if someone is interested in signing on to a Fundraising Premier or getting more information, when is the best time to sign up? And then also, how do you get in touch?
Okay, so the good news is there is no bad time to sign up.
Sure.
It's never too early to start discussing with the team and hearing about our different options and our services and just learning more about what we do.
Right.
Even if you're not sure you want to run yet, all you have to do is go to our website and there's, I forget what the button says. It might say get in touch or reach out, and just shoot us a message.
Yeah.
And typically within one business day or less, you'll hear from our team and we'll schedule the time to chat. Again, you don't have to know what you want.
Yeah.
You don't even have to know if you're running for office yet.
Right.
But if you just want to hear more about what we do and the services that we offer, you will have a face-to-face meeting with one of our team members.
Right. And it'll be all about you and how we could help you.
Totally.
It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Totally. Also, I know life is busy. Holidays are coming up, right? It is, at any point these conversations can begin. You can come to us, talk to us now about a plan to launch your campaign in March.
Sure.
Right? It's never too early to start those discussions, and do not feel like you have to wait until after the holidays, because we can get on top of it.
Absolutely.
And be ready to go
We're
early
here.
next year, later this year, whatever you're looking for. So just reach out to us, have a chat, and if you decide it's not a fit, that's totally fine. But at least you'll know what we do, and you can have a conversation with a team member.
Yeah.
And if you're in DC, reach out to us. We'd love to have you come pop by and say
Yes.
hello in person.
We have people at our office all the time.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to us about Fundraising Premier and beyond. It was great to have you.
Thank you. I feel like I'm among the fun group that get to really experience the podcast life now. So this is super exciting to be in does it have a name, the studio?
No, it doesn't.
Is it the studio?
The studio? The Brick?
The Brick. We're workshopping it.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me.
Leave a name in the comments.
Yes. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you.